All good. Hi, everyone. I feel like I'm in the Oscars ceremony. That's incredible. Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me here today. As Lee said, my name is Marianne Bouchart. I'm here for the first session of the day called Decoding AI. We're going to do some learning about modern radio journalism and beyond. Here's how we're going to spend this 40 minutes together. We're going to learn some fundamentals about the technologies behind artificial intelligence tools that you hear about all day in the office. We're going to be learning about what's machine learning, what's LLM, context windows, does AI actually learn, and ask lots of different questions about this topic, including what's the difference between those LLMs and search engines, how do AI-powered tools work, like what's the mechanism behind it, and same for the transcription tools. So I'm going to try and do some demos, because I love risks. And those demos are going to be about those LLMs and Python. So brace yourself, guys. Obviously, I know that you guys will want to take notes because I'm going to say some so interesting things. So to make it easier for you, I've published all those slides online. And so if you just scan this QR code, you will get to the slides and have a copy of it. I made sure that I made those slides very easy to read so that you can get back to it later or share it with your colleagues. So first up is this promise of fundamentals about the technology behind artificial intelligence. Disclaimer, all the illustrations you're going to be seeing in this presentation, they've been made by artificial intelligence and a tool called Midjourney. So, first of all, this word machine learning is probably my favorite one in the vocabulary of artificial intelligence. It's a branch of AI where computers are programmed to recognize patterns in data and to use those patterns to perform tasks more accurately over time. It's like having extra hands in your team, only that those hands move lightning fast and perform huge tasks effortlessly. It's not magic. A lot of people say that AI is magic. It's not magic. It's just a process of identifying patterns. To the question, how does AI actually learn? We say it doesn't actually learn. It doesn't understand. What it does is that it recognizes patterns and execute tasks. That's one of the takeaways I need you guys to keep from today. In radio audio, basically machine learning can do lots of things, including transcription, analyzing large data sets, generating summaries of radio shows, automatically detect and reduce background noise, level out uneven audio segments, and also personalize recommendations online. Now, we've seen the first keyword, let's say, that's machine learning. Now I want to talk to you about another one. That's an acronym, and it's LLM. Raise your hand if you've heard this term before, so I'm a bit reassured. Yeah, oh, thank you. Thank you, guys. All right, so LLM stands for Large Language Model. It's a machine learning system, for those who didn't know, and it's trained on massive amounts of text, so it can understand, generate, and manipulate natural language in a way that often feels remarkably human. Imagine it's like having a hyper-literate copywriter at your desk who's read all of the books you can ever imagine and is able to help you out on your job. Whenever you need something, whether that's a summary or draft, to understand something a bit difficult, you can just get to it and for instant coherent text and analysis. LLMs are machine learning models that are specialized in language. Okay, so they use the same underlying principles, that is recognizing patterns in data, but they focus on text. And that's also very important to remember. So while the field of machine learning can handle everything from image recognition to audio editing. LLMs apply that pattern finding power, superpower, specifically to words and sentences. And that's where the battle between LLMs and search engines comes in. A lot of people confuse the two, or use large language models as a search engine, or use search engines as LLM. So let's clarify things a bit. LLMs, they predict the next likely word in a sentence based on patterns. Search engine, they retrieve information from an index of web pages. So they are very different systems. While LLMs can appear to know things, they're actually just matching patterns. Okay? They are not a database of fact, as per se. Okay? And that's where the word hallucination comes in. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this before, that artificial intelligence can hallucinate, can make up things. It's not because it's failing at a task, it's because it's programmed to give you the more likely answer, a probable answer to your question. So this difference matters a lot for accuracy and reliability, right? When you work in audio and radio. And LLMs generate those plausible text response, not facts. Those search engines retrieve verified information, making search engines generally more reliable for accurate reporting. Now, maybe some of you guys in the room are using LLMs such as ChatGPT quite often, and they've noticed that we've got this little blue sphere icon that appeared recently in the tool, and that's the search function. And that's just to confuse you all a bit more today. This search function, should we consider it as a search engine feature? What do you think? Just shout yes or no. You think yes, no, okay. Let's clarify that, right? When ChatGPT integrates a web search function, it's essentially merging two separate technologies. The LLM technology I just talked to you about, and the search function that gathers real-time factual information from the web and provides it as a context to the LLM so that it can generate a more accurate, reliable answer. But it's still an answer that's been processed and interpreted by the LLM. So think of ChatGPT's search-enabled mode as a journalist with immediate access to verified research assistance. The assistant, the search function, provides reliable, sometimes fact-checked, notes from trusted sources, if you guide it well, which the journalist, the LLM, then uses to write an informed answer. Without the web search, the journalist can just rely on their memory, which is already quite impressive, but not always accurate. So those LLMs with integrated web search can access search capabilities, but they're not the same as dedicated search engines, and typically not as precise. It improves the reliability of your LLM, but you should always verify critical facts from the original sources. Here is the important nuance. Search engines, such as Google or Bing, have one job. They retrieve and rank information based on relevance, authority, and recency, directly pointing you to the sources. LLMs like ChatGPT or Gemini and Claude, with search functions, use an external search to collect fresh information, but they then summarize and interpret it. Today, we have LLMs with built-in search functions, as we just saw, and we also have AI-powered search engines, such as Perplexity, U.com, or Bing Chat. Does that ring a bell to anyone in here? Yeah? And so those tools, they summarize and interpret information much like LLMs. Does it seem a bit like a mess, all of this? It's okay, because it is a bit, so. So these two categories continue to blend quite a bit. and the boundaries between them may blur even more in the future. So by understanding the underlying technologies, you'll be well equipped to distinguish their capabilities clearly, set some realistic expectations, and choose the best tool for each task. Okay? Now, let's continue our journey with a new term that I quite like, and it's context window. It seems a bit arty. Midjourney got really creative on this one. It's essentially the memory of a language model. So it allows it to keep track of earlier parts of a conversation. So we remember, kind of, everything you just tell him, and will build his answers accordingly over time. A larger context window means that the model remembers more information and produces more coherent results. Sure. I've made this slide for the geeky in the room who are still confused about which model to choose for what. That's one of the big questions that everyone has at the moment, especially when those language models just keep on getting released and new ones come every other week. So it's important to understand the tech behind it and to see exactly where we stand at today to know which model has what kind of context window. So on the left side, you've got those OpenAI's LLMs that you might know, the GPT-4o, the o1, GPT-4 standard, and the simpler models like o3 mini, and so on. I haven't put the latest GPT 4.5 model because we don't have data on it yet. And on the right-hand side, you've got the Claude models. They all have similar context window. And you have the Gemini models. Gemini, sorry. What should we take away from this slide is what you can learn is how we count the size of a context window. We count it in what we call tokens. Tokens is a measure that is an approximation depending on how many words is within this context window. So for the GPT models, the bigger context window is 120,000 tokens, while for Claude models, we've got 200,000 tokens, and Gemini claims that his latest models, the Gemini 1.5 Pro, can go up to 1 million tokens. So you can grasp the kind of the race for who's got the biggest, right? But a context window size alone does not define a model quality. It's not because Gemini has the biggest context window that it's the best LLM out there. Okay, that's another takeaway I want you guys to take from this. We've got other factors that matter, such as accuracy and coherence of answers, speed of response, cost, of course, creative capability or reliability, and the ability to handle tasks creatively with a tone and precision. So in short, the best LLM depends entirely on the task you're doing and the type of response you need, not just the size of the context window. Okay, now, because the follow-up question to this is, well, since we've talked about the context window size and other things we need to take into account when using LLMs, what do I do now? Maybe some of you guys didn't know that you had several models you could pick from on each of those platforms. So now that you know that, for example, on ChatGPT, you've got about 4 or 5 different models to pick from, how do you go about choosing one, right? So I've made this slide so that you can have a little guide on what to do, like a starter guide. So for example, if you have a really fast casual task, such as checking a definition, having little context about something, you can use the ChatGPT 3.5 model or the Claude 3.5 IQ model. okay? And for more complex tasks, complex reasoning and analysis, you can use Claude 3.7 Sonnet, for example, okay? So I leave it there for you guys. Okay, so I have this ambition to do LLM showdown today. That's the scary part for me, because we need to rely on Wi-Fi. But I wanted to have a little fun with you guys. So I'm going to ask 3 leading AI assistants, ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, to explain how they work. But there's a catch, okay? They'll each pretend that they are being interviewed live on radio. And think of this as a radio show interviewing AI about AI, okay? We'll give a prompt and observe how each of them respond. Compare style, etc. You ready? Okay, so here's the simple prompt that I've written for this. We're not in a session about how to write the best prompt on earth, and I didn't want to confuse you guys with like crazy 30 lines of text. So I made it very simple. It says, you're live on air on Radio AI 101. Your listeners are radio journalists and audio professionals curious about artificial intelligence. In simple terms, can you explain how you, as an AI assistant, manage to respond to questions so quickly and clearly? Please make your answer short. And hopefully that works. It really should. Okay, so we've got the showdown. We've got Claude on the left, we've got Gemini in the middle, and we've got ChatGPT on the right-hand side. I think my mic doesn't work. And so for each of them, I've put the prompt I've just read out loud, and here they go, writing up the answers. You can see at first sight that our chatty one is on the left, okay? So we've got the Claude model on the left that is usually give more lengthy answers. In the middle, you've got Gemini that gives us a very short answer, just like ChatGPT did. I'm going to pause on this so that we can look at the answers together. Can I pause that? Yes, here we go. Okay, so Claude, as you can see, is very polite, because he's the only one starting his answer by, thanks for having me on Radio AI 101, while the others just can't be bothered. But each of them have kind of similar answer, which reassures me, because it means I've said the right things at the beginning of this, of this session. But they basically explain, for example, Gemini, I've been trained on a massive amount of text and code. When you ask a question, I rapidly analyze it, compare it to that vast data set, and then generate a response based on patterns and relationships I've learned. Think of it as an incredibly fast, complex search and remix, all happening in milliseconds. Okay. Now for the part 2, because that's not it. I wanted a follow-up prompt for them. So I've been polite and said thank you. Now, could you each tell us what you think makes you different, or perhaps even better than your fellow AI assistant colleagues here in the studio today? Remember, your audience loves radio, podcast, and humor, just to make it a little bit fun. And here we go again. So I've put the prompt in. Each of our AI assistants. There we go. Up, up, up. So we've got Claude again. Let's say a bit selfishly, but again, I'm saying this for a bit of fun, right? They're not humans. Well, I'd love to compare myself to my AI colleagues in the studio, but I'm afraid I'm flying solo on this broadcast today. Like, get rid of the competition. If I were to highlight what makes me unique in the AI assistant world, I'd say it's my conversational approach. I try to strike a balance between being helpful and having a touch of personality without veering into dad joke territory, though I've been known to appreciate a good pun. In the middle with Gemini, we've got, well, as the voice you're hearing now, well, that's mine. I'd say my strength lies in clarity and conciseness, perfect for the fast-paced world of radio. I can distill complex information into easily digestible sound bites without losing the nuance. Plus, I've got a knack for phrasing things in a way that just sounds good on air. Like, he's a show-off. And the last answer, I wanted to vocalize it a bit.
Absolutely. Well, unlike my fellow AI colleagues here, who might still be buffering, I'm already tuned into your frequency. Think of me as your favorite podcast, engaging, quick-witted, and always ready with a punchline. Plus, I've binged every radio show and podcast script out there, so trust me, I know exactly when to speak, when to listen, and when to fade gently into your next segment.
Thank you, ChatGPT. Are we going to trust him blindly? Her? Only you should know. Okay. Toop, toop, toop. Please let me get to my slide again. Poop. Thank you. All right, so what we learned from that little play is that each language model has its own style, personality, and limitations based on how it's trained and designed. And right there, we just compared 3 big names, but you can even see differences between those language models inside the same tool, okay? So I always invite people to just try things off and change from one model to the other to feel the difference on your own. Okay, so let's go back to our schedule for today, because time is running by so fast, right? When you're with me. So we've done the first 4 points. Okay, now we need to talk about how do AI-powered audio editing tools work? Like, what's the mechanism behind it? And same thing for the AI transcription tools, because I know you guys use them quite often, so it'd be nice to know how that works. Basically, and I'm going to try and make it short, AI-powered editing tools analyze waveform data and use machine learning models trained to recognize speech patterns. So they transform those audio waves into patterns. Okay? They can recognize, analyze the audio wave, and make sense of it so that they can recognize what is being said. Okay? They work by, well, recognizing patterns in sound, and they've been trained to identify speech, but also background noise and common audio issues. Because of this training, they can automatically detect and fix problems, like removing filler words, the leveling audio volumes, or reducing background noise, tasks that would normally be quite difficult to do manually and sometimes impossible. The transcription tools work similarly. They've been trained on thousands of hours of spoken audio. So, excuse me, they can really quickly recognize speech patterns and convert spoken words into text. The more audio they are exposed to, the better they get at it. And they can understand different accents, vocabulary, and speaking styles. That's why some languages are supported and not others. It just comes down to, well, kinda. It comes down to how much training data the AI has seen to recognize it. And so the transcription tools rely on having access to large amounts of speech data in each specific language to learn effectively. Popular languages like English, Spanish, or French have massive amounts of audio and text data available online, making it very easier for models to recognize speech patterns accurately, and that's really unfair. So those less common languages or very local languages have fewer available data sets, so the models can't yet really recognize their speech patterns. That's why some languages feel almost native to these AI tools, while others just struggle and aren't supported at all. Okay, next up, a final one, I promise. We're going to talk about Python. And I'm not here to talk about snakes today, so don't run away. But anyone has heard about Python programming before? Raise your hand. Oh, yeah. Nice. All right. So I wanted to end the session with a little quick trick on Python for everyone, those who know about it and those who don't. And the example we're going to take here is about transcription and how those tools you use all the time work. And so this little demo is going to show the step-by-step actions that those tools do to transcribe an audio into text. And we're going to talk about Whisper and Faster Whisper for those who have those bingo cards where you tick the words in sessions. Let's start with Whisper. It's an open source AI model that's been developed by OpenAI, the same organization that built ChatGPT. And what it does, it sort of listens to spoken audio and converts it to text automatically. It's trained on hundreds of thousands of hours of speech, so it can recognize voices, accent, and even languages very, very well. The key points to know about Whisper, so that you can go home today saying, well, I've learned some programming in Python. Whisper is trained on big amounts, okay, of multilingual speech data. It's free, open source, and available to anybody. You don't need advanced coding skills to use it, just you need to understand basics. And you can run it locally on your computer in a Claude environment like Google Colab, that we're going to see in a second. What I'm going to show you is that you can just adapt a few lines of Python code to transcribe interviews faster and more privately than on third-party services. And sorry for guys who work at translation, transcription tools in here. Like, I love you guys. I'm just showing the technology here. Imagine you've got an audio file of an interview and you want to transcribe it right away without uploading into a third-party app because it's very sensitive and you just don't want it on a third-party app. What you can do is very easy, and please don't run away again. What you're seeing on screen is the entire code you need to just do a simple transcription. So it's not that hard. And yes, it's basically a matter of copy and pasting a template code into a tool online. And that's why I want to show it to you, because it's an easy trick that you can teach yourself and your kids. The steps to remember is that you need to install Whisper, okay, into an environment so that it knows all those tasks to transcribe audio to text. And then you just give it an audio file, and it will ingest it and give you the text transcription. So for that, we need an audio, right? So I went onto the NPR website that is graciously giving away all their MP3 files on their website. So I'm not stealing any one, in case you were wondering. And I've decided to take this audio content about Trump, who signed an executive action targeting public service loan program. So, as I said earlier, you just need to find a little space to do your programming. And you don't need to be a programmer, you don't need some very difficult tool to do that. You can actually do it straight from Google Drive. Who's been using Google Drive in the past month or so? Raise your hand. Yay. So there's a space in Google Drive, apart from Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets that you might use every day, that is called Google Colab or Google Collaboratory. You need to download it from the little download icon in Google Drive. But once you've done it, it's really easy to get to. And I've done a screenshot for you guys. And it's this little infinite orange icon at the bottom of the list. Also, because I really do want you guys to be doing some Whisper coding, I've made a very simple step-by-step guide to Whisper transcription with Python. And that's a PDF, one page, that you can get to from the slides, and you can print it and have fun on weekends, you know, like you do. And as you can see, it all fits into one page. So it's very, very easy. And a lot of the words are there because I felt really bad to just not write nothing on the page. Because actually what you need to know fits on this slide. And the two first steps are open Google Drive and install Google Collaboratory. So that's quite easy. So we are left off with just 4 steps. The first one is copy-paste the code. This code you see is 2.5 lines only, okay? And you can use it, copy-paste every time. It's the same code every time you want to transcribe an audio. This code helps you install Whisper onto your environment, okay? So you're teaching the Google robot how to use Whisper. Then you need to give the audio file, so you're gonna have to, step 5, upload your audio file, or video, it works on video too. And next step, you're gonna have to tell the tool, now you've got the audio, you've got the Whisper tool, merge it, and please transcribe my file as quick as possible. And that's one line of code that you see under point number 6, where I've put into bracket the name of my audio file. That's an MP3 extension because it's audio. And that's it. Press enter, and we will see the transcription go down. Does that sound magical? Yeah. Should we do it? Yeah. We're going to try. I want to try and do it. Yes, I have the time to do it. This is awesome. Okay. So, how does it look? Well, actually, I can go back a slide. Go forward a slide. Okay. So, poof. That's what a Google Colab space looks like. Chook. And I'm gonna go onto a new one from scratch, because we have time to do it. Poop. You should all be crossing your fingers right now so that the gods of Wi-Fi are with us. I've made notes, as you should, of those little lines of code you just need to copy-paste. It's on the right-hand side of my screen, and I'm going to make it bigger for those wearing glasses in the room. I saw that many of you guys are wearing glasses today, so I need to be nice. Okay. So that's the Colab space. I'm going to call it what? Python drama. And here, that's where the code happens, okay? So I'm going to start with what I said, is that you need to tell Google Colab to just install Whisper. Poof, I copy-paste. I click on the little play button, so it plays the code, inshallah. Oh, no. It's okay. Up. Code. Never forget the FFmpeg. That's there. There you go. And so what you see going down here is the robot behind the tool just digesting the task, okay? So it's collecting all the data about Whisper directly from GitHub. If some of you guys are a bit geeky, you might have been to GitHub before, where you can find lots of open source code, including Whisper, because I said it's free and open source. And so here the machine is just doing its own thing. And, well, that usually takes just 1 second. And after that, I said the second task is about giving it your audio file, right? So I'm going to go and fetch it. You just need to click on this icon on the left-hand side, the files icon. Upload, find your MP3, yeah. And here we go. My MP3 is there. It's got a very ugly title, so I'm going to rename it so that my code is not so dirty. Up. And I call it my audio. That's better. And, okay. So it appears here on the left-hand side, okay? And the last step is to ask Google Colab to do the transcription for us, okay? And it's that little bit of code here that says whisper, as in, please go on and use whisper. Here's the audio, my audio.mp3, and model medium. There are different sizes that you can use in whisper, small, medium, large, just like at the shops, you know. And the model medium is usually good at most of tasks, so you can keep it that way. But you want to feel funny, you can change medium into large and see what happens. Okay, so as expected, the gods of Wi-Fi aren't with us, but I've been very precautious and I've recorded this beforehand, so I don't feel so stressed. Let's play it together. Choop. And you can see the speed, okay? And that was with the hotel Wi-Fi, which is, you know, not the best reference, right? Most of us stayed at the same hotel, so you feel me. Okay, so this pip install, the first bit of code that we had, is there. And it's just downloading Whisper. 15 seconds it took, okay? Then I copy-pasted the other bit of code with my audio MP3 and pressed the little play button again. And there we go. Again, what you see going down is just the robot playing and digesting the task of transcription. And so the first few lines are gibberish, and it's fine, like we don't need to understand everything. All we need to know is, I want to get my transcription. And you will see down there, there we go. We've got the time codes, and the transcription happens. And again, no, it's not magic, right? It's pattern recognition. Like we should make a t-shirt out of this, but we'll talk about this later. And so you see the transcription going down. The audio file was about 3 minutes, if I remember well. And so you see the time code going down and down as we speak. All in all, it took a minute 27, no, a minute 17 seconds, okay? To install Whisper, get the file, transcribed, okay? So that's pretty decent. It means the robot did, in 1 minute plus 17 seconds, it managed to transcribe your 3-minute audio. So half, a bit over half the time you would need to just listen to it once. Is that fine? Ooh. Now, for those who understood all of this, like, congratulations, first of all, like, that's awesome. And, well, the others, we can do it again later. And so for those who want more, because it's always like that in tech, right? So fast is not fast enough, like, we need faster, faster. And that's why something has been released that's called Faster Whisper, you know. And so basically what's Faster Whisper is a faster version of Whisper, because Whisper is great, but it can sometimes be slow. And in slow, I'm not meaning like an hour slow. I mean, 1 minute is too slow for some people. So we need to make it even faster. And so they've built an extra bit of code that you can copy-paste into Google Collaboratory to make it even faster. And so that's incredible again. And it's the same principle, guys. So I've put on screen the little bit of code that you can just copy-paste, put it in Google Collaboratory. Hopefully you will find those reassuring items that I've talked about earlier, as in the green text, your audio file.mp3. You just change that with the name of your audio file and you're done. Like, that's super cool. Thank you very much. Why are we doing all of this? Because I think that knowing how those transcription tools actually work gives you power as a radio journalist, right? And so you will not be using those transcription tools blindly anymore. So that's a plus, okay? Because all of those transcription tools, they use similar technology, right, to do the job. So now you know how they work. You don't have to understand every line of code, just like I said during the demo. You just need to know enough to get your way. You can do it on your computer very easily and for free. And keep in mind that different models produce different accuracy levels. There will always be those warnings, I think, during the whole summit, right? Like, be careful with AI. Because it can still miss things or mishear words, okay? Especially with background noises when the quality of the audio isn't that great. How are you feeling? Not too bad for a Sunday morning? All right. I'm doing you a favor, because I've done a slide to recap all the takeaways from this session. So all of those who didn't listen for 40 minutes, you can just grab this and tell your boss that you've been listening. Key takeaways: AI is pattern recognition. It's not magic. Second, LLMs differ, and you should choose the one that fits your style or task. LLMs differ from search engines. They each have pros and cons. Understand context windows and choose models wisely. Basic Python can unlock powerful AI transcription locally. A little coding knowledge goes a long way. You don't have to be a developer to use these tools. Yay. If you want to know more about the stuff we do on a daily basis, you can go and check out our website. And that's it. I'm done. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'm also happy to talk to you guys later during the day. I'll be there until mid-afternoon or so. Thank you for your attention. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, probably no time for questions now. Yeah, I don't think we've got any time for questions right now, but should we say you promise to be around and chat to people afterwards? Yes?
That was my strategy. Okay.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne.
Yay.
It's really fascinating to learn how some of this stuff works, isn't it? So it's really interesting.
Can I just ruthlessly pull the plugs? Or, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, you can do that, yep.
Okay. Thanks.
So our next session today explores the cutting edge of AI innovation in audio at Spain's Prisa Media. Got a list of things here our next speaker will be covering, from deepfake audio detection to cloning, educating newsrooms in AI, and so much more. But I won't steal her thunder. Please welcome Prisa Media's Chief Digital Officer, Ana Moechea.
Well, good morning. So happy to be here today. I'm Ana Moechea. I'm Chief Digital Officer for radios in Prisa Media. So my main focus today will be talking about 3 points. There we go. There we go. So I'll cover 3 of these points. Like, first one, we're going to do like in a couple of minutes, is what we are doing as a company, the whole company. We are not doing like amazing stuff. We are doing the same as the rest, so I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on radio station. That is what we are here today. And there we are going to talk about distribution and voice. So surprisingly, at the middle of this conversation, we should take a 2-minute break. So you will go outside, and when you come back, I will be here still. So it's quite a strange structure, but here we go. So Prisa Media, you may know us. We are like the biggest publisher on Spanish in the world. We have El País, us, and all the radio stations. So as Prisa Media, what we are doing, I think that very similar as the rest of companies are doing. We started early, like having agreements with AI tech companies. We have agreements with OpenAI, we have agreements with Perplexity and some others. Why we did that? Well, in one side it's an economic side, of course, but in the other, we are really like working and learning with them. For example, I'm not going to talk today about that, but El País, we have built a chatbot for subscribers in El País, and we have been developing with OpenAI. So, I mean, it's it's amazing for us, like really learning from the best companies right now on the AI ecosystem. And the rest, okay, we have a compliance committee, which is like every time that we need to start with a new AI tool, we need to ask permission in this committee. We are working in all our workflow, not only on the newsroom, but the whole company, using Copilot. We have a lot of training, inside training, and we also have AI protocols. So I think very similar to the rest. So what about radio station? That we are here to talk about radio stations and how are we using the AI here? Well, in our brand areas, we work in 12 countries, mostly in 4, Colombia, Spain, Mexico, and Chile. We are leaders in the talk radios in most of the countries. And at the end, we are like the biggest audio producer on Spanish in the world. So here's the point. How can we help all these newsrooms with AI? That was the main point. So I would like to share with you today like 4 projects but the framework is very clear to us. We work in distribution and we work in voice. So how can we help the newsrooms in those different areas? In each area, we have different kind of projects. So I will start with distribution. I know it's not really very sexy thing. Voice is funnier, I know. But distribution is everything to us. I think that's really very interesting what Marianne was sharing with us, because she was talking about what and how this technology works. And what we are doing is taking these technologies and putting in all our daily workflow. At the end of the day, we have 24 hours audio, 7 days a day, 4 countries, 30 brands. We have a lot of audio. So we need to work like in frameworks and really have like a workflow very, very established. So I don't have time here anyway, so I keep on talking. So distribution. I'm sure that all of you may know that. Audio for us is like a black box. I don't know. We don't know what is going on inside an MP3. It's like that. I don't know what is told inside this MP3. When we do the distribution with the audio, with a tag, with a title, but we are not really doing the distribution with everything that is inside. So this black box, to me, is like one of the biggest problems in audio distribution. So that is really very simple, and Marianne was talking about transcription, but transcription to me is changing really a lot. It's opening the box. So the way we have been working in radio stations in the last years, to me, is like, okay, we've been like for 100 years, but the last year, Cadena Ser, we celebrate 100 years, and Caracol 75 years. So we have the radio stations and people listening us in the cars and at home. That was quite simple. In the last 15 years, our main point was audio distribution. What does it mean, audio distribution? Quite simple. I take like this audio, digital, but it's the audio. It's like, again, these MP3 files, these audio files. And my main point was doing the distribution in a dynamic ecosystem. So it was the distribution was for the audio platforms such as Spotify, Apple, and the rest. The distribution was for the audio was on the social media, and of course the distribution was for our own and operated products such as web, app, smart speakers. But to me now, it's like from last year and this year, it's a big change. It's okay, we are a radio station, okay, we need to do the distribution, but now we need to start thinking about the data and start working with the data. A couple of examples of why is data helping us on that? For things so easy as search engine, as indexing, as helping our own journalists to find their own content, helping our own journalists to find what's happening this morning, what an interview has said this morning, who says what. Now we can't do that in our radio stations. And then if we can do like other layers like personalization, audio recommendations. So it's okay. We need to do distribution, but we need to work with data. So in 2024, we came up with a project. We call it SODA, Sound of Data. It's like Julie Andrews met ChatGPT, more or less. And we start thinking on SODA. SODA, at the end, was the name that we bring not only to transcription, but to the whole, really, concept of all of that. So that was transcription. Of course, we need transcription. But after transcription, we need to create a layers of services, a layers of tools that our newsrooms need. Our main focus is productivity for our newsrooms and better metrics also. But 90% is helping newsrooms. So first was transcription, okay, but then we were thinking like on those layers. I'm gonna be like very specific of that, maybe too specific. It's very hands-on, but I think it's quite interesting because, I mean, it's something that every radio station could do. So let's try to think of these different layers. Well, the first layer, the first tools were like, okay, all these tools and services that can help me converting audio into data. The second one is more focusing on people that are writing, like the newspaper, like they're writing the digital newspaper. And the last one is like search engines. So let's go for the first one. Okay, we talk about transcription. Cool. Sorry, it's not beautiful. It's our CMS, we are changing the CMS, but it's not really very beautiful. This is our audio, well, multimedia, it's video and audio CMS right now. So we've been developing the thinking, defining and developing the project during 2024. And at the end of 2024, in November, December, we start using it on a very small area of the Cadena SER, which is the Spanish radio station. And we start doing first, like 1 year of historical transcription with Cadena SER. By now, we are doing the transcription with Google. I think that in a couple of months, or well, we are trying to go to OpenAI, to Whisper, but just because of the dearization. I mean, Google, you can't have dearization, which means, do you know dearization? What is that? No, it's when you have the transcription and you have voice 1, voice 2, voice 1, voice 2. With Google, you have just like everything all together. So it's not so easy. So I think that for our journalists, for our newsrooms, that's really very important. So probably we'll change to Whisper. And I think it's cheaper, but I'm not sure. Then we are doing the transcription for 1 year. Now, what we are doing since December, we are doing the transcription of every program, every day of Cadena SER. Okay, we have the transcription in 5 languages. We are doing on Spanish, in English, and then we have 3 languages, Hispanic, like Basque, Catalonian, and Gallego. So you have the transcription in the 5 languages. What is the thing? That the transcription and also the audio automatic tagging is inside our system. Okay, so all of this, maybe you can now you can see this is manually, but every day this is done in a very automatic way. Okay, you don't have to do anything. If you go to see like one program, Hoy por Hoy, Cadena SER, you go and you already have your transcription done. Everything is inside our CMS. We haven't published anything until now, okay? This is when a journalist arrives, the program has the transcription. You can move around the transcription. You can find inside the transcription. You can download the transcription, so we can use it as subtitle generation, and we can get summaries out of the transcription. So we have the transcription, and with the transcription, we have some kind of, you see here, summary around 800 words. Okay, so this is what is inside our not very beautiful CMS. Okay, so when the journalist arrives, has that. How can you see that? On a very way, like, okay. Those are the subtitles, but you have all the subtitles, so you can use for social media like in 2 seconds. You already have that. You have this called resume. This is our summarize. So nothing is published without a journalist in the middle. But when the journalist arrives to the CMS, has the transcription, have the summary, have the tags, have everything. So they take the summary if they want, and if they want, they can publish. It's 800 words, so we are thinking about SEO, last search. And then the last two ones is like rich snippet, and this. In that case, we are not thinking really on the users. Here, we are thinking on Google, really on indexation in Google. Okay, if you see, we are like hiding our transcription in these 3 points. This is audio, and if you go to these 3 points, you can see there, like the transcription. So this is really for Google. We have that, and we have rich snippets also for Google. So that was like the first layer. The second layer. The second layer is like, okay, we have the transcription, and we have like all the content tagging. So now we are thinking about the people that is writing our website, our apps, and everything. So how can we help them? So we have developed a standalone Chrome extension. Why is that? That will be this one, MIA. We call it MIA, like multimedia AI. And not really very beautiful, but it's a standalone Chrome extension because we have a lot of CMS. We have Arc, that is the Washington Post one. We have WordPress. We have like more than 50 websites. So we thought that it would be easier to do like something standalone, and then we do the communication with every CMS. So how does it work? Okay, so if I'm a journalist, I'm writing an article about Malaga. Bling, 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 Malaga. So I have Mia just on my side. And the two main keys, it's going to help me, the focus is enrich and relate. Enriquecer y relacionar. Enrich is going to give me like tags. If you are writing about Malaga, okay, maybe you can put this tags. Because I'm writing, it's going to give me like this lead generation. It's called entradilla. You can decide if it's on a formal way, on an informal way, if it's short or large. You have proportions coming from there, and you decide if you take it or not. And if you can see, also relacionar. To me, this is one of the main things. Why relacionar? Because now, for first time, we can do an audio suggestion. Okay, if I'm writing an article about Malaga, you can see there that I have like a lot of audios with Malaga. Why is that? Because I've been doing transcription for 1 year, because I have do the tagging for 1 year, so suddenly I'm writing about Malaga, and I have suggestions of articles. That's amazing for us, because really, these all 24 hours, 7 days a day of audio that we are doing, finally, we can put together. And if I have 2 or 3 programs or 3 news talking about Malaga for the last week or for a month or for 1 year, I can find here. It's like Mia is going to tell us, okay, you can use that, or you can find. You can look for it, you can go, you can, as you have seen, you can go through all the transcription, you can do a filtering, and that you can see here is one of the main things also for us, that is cross-linking. I mean, I can do like related articles and audio from Cadena Ser, which is my radio station, but also from El País or AS, which means in our case, AS is the biggest sports newspaper in Spain. It's really big. So if AS is writing about the match, the Real Madrid match yesterday, and take all the audio coming from the program in the radio station talking about Real Madrid yesterday, we are doing cross-linking, and we are really giving all these audio files like a big, big, big distribution. So we are working with SIT. Well, okay, search engines is search engines. We're working with it. So we are working with that. We are really very happy, I have to say. The newsroom is very happy. We need to do a lot of job right now. But the KPIs, I mean, I told you at the beginning, our main focus was helping the productivity of the newsrooms and also some metrics. And it's working. I mean, cost, we have been doing our numbers 1 year ago, and now it's amazing, but it's like changing like every day, so the cost is below budget. That never happens. So that's really very good news. Productivity, you can see numbers. So the news, the volume of news with audio is increased 70% because it's so easy to get audios into the webs, into the articles. So that's amazing. If you can see the last metrics, for example, that's Google. But we are taking, without a rich snippet, it took us 15 days to index for Google. Now we are doing it in 3 days. And you can see the traffic. For the news with audio, we grow like 90% in uniques and 47 in page views. So that's really interesting for us. Now we are going to do in Cadena Ser, we have 175 radio stations, so we are going to escalate this year for the whole radio stations, and we start at the same time working for our talk radios in Chile, Colombia, and Mexico. So I think I'm going to stop here. We do like this 2 minutes stretch, and I'll be here.
So we're going to take a very, very short break now, because it's apparently the law in Athens that conferences have to have a short break to stretch your legs at about midday. So we're going to carry on in 5 minutes sharp with part 2 with Anna.
But voice is much funnier. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back. Here's Anna with part 2.
I'm back again. Okay. So we were here, still Anna Ormaechea, Prisa Media. And we are here, we're talking about distribution and voice, that we are doing like a bunch of projects, but inside this framework of voice and distribution. So now I'm going to talk about 3 projects that we are doing in voice, one bigger than the other, really, but I think due that they are so different, I want to talk a little about each one. So I'm going to talk about Verificadio, which is our AI tool for fact-checking. I'm going to talk, and that we have developed inside. I'm going to talk about our automatic weather bulletins for Mexico, and I'm going to talk about ad generation. So I start with Verificaudio. I was talking last year about Verificaudio. I don't know, some of you know Verificaudio? Yeah, 1, 2, sorry. I go back. Because now we have, last year it was a POC, this year is a really very big project. So in Prisa Media we have been working with voice for the last 3 years. In fact, like 3 years ago, we launched Victoria, the voice of soccer. That was like the first brand voice. We built a voice from scratch, synthetic voice, and that was the first voice that was on a sports program, like collaborating. So since this year, we were working with synthetic voices. In 2023, we realized that something was happening and that the synthetic voice and cloning voice was really, really going very fast, super fast. And that at some point we realized that a pretty perfect clonation of voice, you could do it like in 2 minutes, and I bet you we can't decide if this voice is real or is a clonation voice. So you can do a clonation voice maybe for free or 20 euros. And we can't really decide if it's true or not. So realize that that was like a new reality, a new audio reality. And also realize that in 2024, like half of the population needs to go on elections. So in this new reality, we say, okay, we are the radio stations, we are like the bigger audio producer in the Spanish world. Now we have like this new reality, so we need to step and try to help our newsrooms with something like very especially that no one else is doing, that is fight against misinformation in this audio ecosystem. And it's like, okay, we need to help our newsrooms in this detection of fake voices. So we started and we built them. We built a POC, like a pilot, in 3 months. We built Verificadio, which is an AI tool developed by Prisa Media. It's an internal developing with some outside help. And the point is that enables audio verification and detection of deepfakes created by synthetic voices. So how we have done? Well, we were working with Google and with Minsight, because that was really critical. I mean, our tech teams, they are not used to work with LLMs. There were more tech teams focused on app developing, web developing, so that was a real challenge. But we knew that we need to do it something like very fast, like in 3 months, and then, okay, we'll do it better. So we had in 3 months, but now we have like this beautiful, our CMS was awful, but the Verificaudio is beautiful. So now we have these 2 AI models, Verificaudio. So you can see like modelo comparador y modelo identificador. You can use both or just one. It could be like a double fact checker or just one fact checker. How does it work? Okay. The comparison model, usually the deepfakes, audio deepfakes arrive on social media, by social media, and usually are like politicians, some journalists, or some sports. Those are normally the most ones. So what happens is that we work in radio stations, and usually we have been interviewing those people. So we already have a real audio coming from these politicians. So what we do, we have in this comparison model, we have two audios. We have the audio that we already have and the suspicious one that arises from social media. So what does the model? It compares these deviations between the real and the suspicious. That was a development. We have done like a fine-tuning for a neural network. It was a neural network on English, so we have been working on adapting onto Spanish. So this is, if I upload the two audios, I upload the real audio and the suspicious audio, this is really the result. You can see there, first, it's a percentage. It's really, really, really very complicated to get like 100%. Usually we are working around the 85, 87 of probability of fidelidad. It's not so easy. If you can see, it's 78%, and they say, okay, that could be a different person, different voice. So that's the first AI model. The second one, identification model. This is like a machine learning model that we have developed from scratch. And what it says to us is he's like learning from their own physical features of the audio. So you can see here, in that case, okay, it's 70%, that's the whole thing. Again, it's usually it will be like 70, 80, 80%. It's really very weird if you can get like 100%. And if you see softwares that they tell you it's 100% yes or 100% no, I wouldn't be happy with that. But if you see, those are the atributos analizados. Those are the features of the audio. We are analyzing this. It's speed. I don't know all of them. Oh, it's small. Is speed. Can see. Well, características comunes. Well, there is like a lot of features, but we analyze all of that, all of those features of the audio, but every 10 seconds. What we realize, in fact, is that when there is a synthetic voice or a cloning voice, usually it's not the whole voice. Usually they cut a sentence and they mix with another, so they change the whole meaning of the sentence. So even though we have like the whole percentage of fidelity, you can go there and you can see like every 10 seconds what is really a synthetic voice, what we don't know at all, and the one that is real with these 7 attributes. So the thing here is that we are helping, again, newsrooms. We don't want someone, a journalist saying, okay, it's 100%, it's fake. No. I mean, this is one tool to help in a whole process of verification. Okay, so this is the reason they have all this information, so they can decide, okay, what is fake or is not, and that goes with the whole rest of verification process. So that's it. We started doing a POC. We started in Colombia. And then now we are using the whole product we are using in Spain, Mexico, and Chile. We have 2 people coming from any newsroom, ADN, Cadena SER, Caracol Radio, W Radio, and we have like this cross-newsroom verification committee. So we see most of the, if there is like the same or different kind of deepfakes, or if they are coming more deepfakes from some country, or we can have like the whole pictures. This is what happened last year, in 2024. Happily, that really wasn't like a lot of deepfakes. 50 to me, it's already that we could be wrong 50 times. So it's important because at the end, like big brands, what do have is credibility. And just if we put really in antenna one fake audio, we can lose our credibility. So to me, 50 times that we could be just on the border, that's really important. So I'm happy that we have the tool and that we are using a lot. What kind of fake voices we receive? We have received a lot coming from Venezuela, and then from Colombia, Mexico, Argentina, and I should say not really a lot coming from Chile or Spain. Okay. And that's it. And we are like proud finalists to the INMA Awards. And I'm sure that we are going to win it. So if someone want to see Verificaudio, it's already, I mean, it's not opening. We are now, this week, opening to the whole company. But if you want to see, we can have a chat and I show you with some files, okay? So going back to the other projects, I'm going very fast to the other 2. Automatic weather news bulletin. This is small, but I like this project because it's small, but it's beautiful. So our team in Mexico, in Los 40, Mexico, which is the most famous music radio station, they call us and they told us our competitors, they have like every 15 minutes, they have a bulletin on weather and they have a bulletin on traffic. And we don't have people to fight against that. And people here really like this information. And we say, okay, let's try. Why don't we have AI, so technology is there, let's try. So really the project was quite easy. We look, we see that was quite easy to develop, so we say we are going to develop inside what we need. A very simple integration with a weather API. In that case was the government weather API. So coming from that, we built like kind of template generation, like some sentences, like with the degrees and it's cloudy or it's not cloudy. We have like 4 or 5 kind of templates. We have this integration, the templates integrated in our CMS and the integration with 11 Labs API. In fact, we have done that in a couple of weeks. We have spent much more time deciding the voice, which is important, it's radio station. So we do clonation, we do synthetic voice. Let's go back to 11 Labs to see if we like or we don't like these voices. It's like all our friends in Mexico, they were everyone deciding about that. So at the end, that's it. We go, we decided, I think that we have Genaro, is the voice of Genaro, and that's it. I mean, like, the process is done. It took us like 15 days, and now we can do, if we want, like, traffic or bulletins or whatever. The only thing is that someone has to take this and put it on antenna. What we are not doing is like same that in my first example on soda. Nothing is going out with a person saying yes or no. I put this summary. I was in the distribution project. It's someone that decided that when I use this summary, in that case, someone listened the bulletin and says, okay, antenna. That's the only difference, because we need that. Again, we have big brands and we can't do like something that is against our credibility. Maybe you don't understand, but I like it.
El clima en los 40.
En Ciudad de México, hoy, jueves 6 de febrero, se esperan temperaturas mínimas de 13 grados y máximas de 23 grados. El cielo estará despejado, con una velocidad de viento de 8 kilómetros por hora. No se esperan lluvias.
Los 40.
That's it. Simple. I love simple projects. And the last one, same. That was simple, but again, in that case, instead of helping the newsroom, we are helping our commercial team. We are in Spain. Cadena Ser is 175 radio stations, which is a lot. And they are like very different. We have like big radio stations, small radio stations. We have radio stations where there is 20 people working, and we have radio stations when there is 2 people working. So this is a challenge for us. And in some case, in the smaller radio stations, it's like you have the commercial is the one that it has to think the copy and to write and to sometimes like even talk and record the copy. So we believe that it was important to use like a tool to helping them, but a tool that is different for each of the of this kind of radio stations. So we see that there were some available tools or companies in the market that they were doing and they were doing well. So we decided, okay, we don't need to develop that. So we start talking with our friends of AudioStack. And what we are doing with them is generating copy, integrate the copy with market voices, with synthetic voices, and they produce like in 2-3 minutes, you already have an advertising. So this is easy, but we have a lot of challenges. So in one hand, it's like, okay, some people, like a small radio station says, wow, thank you for helping me. Thank you, because I don't have time for everything. But in the other hand, you have people telling, okay, maybe if you use this voice, you are not going to use my voice anytime. And it's not. For us, it's a tool for helping them. That's it. That's the only point. But, well, I can understand that we need to work together. And then there is a very different usage depending on the size of the station. So we need to try to understand them and doing like very personalized the using. So some of them, they use just like a draft creation and go outside to sell, like selling draft creation. Others use all the full generation. Others use only the voice because it's very hard to find good voices. So we are now trying to understand these different kind of challenges. And then the last 2 challenges is how we say our client that we are going to build your ad with AI. And the second, how we say to our listeners that this ad is done with AI. So if you have solution for that and very clear, I ask for help now.
Hoy por hoy Cantabria viaja hasta Mazcuerras. El municipio es historia, patrimonio, ganadería, cultura y arte. Este viernes, desde las 12:20, te contamos las novedades que prepara Mazcuerras para celebrar la 10ª edición de ASELART, el encuentro de arte rural que se ha convertido en una referencia nacional. Hoy por hoy Cantabria desde Mazcuerras.
That's it. You see, it's simple but effective. So thank you so much for your help. My point was to try to be very helpful and hands-on. Thank you. Questions.
Thank you very much, Anna. No time for questions again. We're running slightly late, but again, Anna will be around today and beyond if you want to catch up with her to find out more about some of those fascinating real-world cases at Prisa Media in Spain and other Spanish-speaking countries. Nearly lunchtime. Good news, we are running slightly late, but I'll keep this very brief to introduce our next speakers. They are from the